There's an elephant and donkey both on shaky ground, but we got the truth and we gonna shout it loud. From the healthcare to taxes, they can't hide from us. With a wink and a nod, we expose all the fuss. Educating the masses with a smirk on our face, bringing clarity to the headlines in this crazy race. From the White House to your house, we cover it all, putting humor in the facts, we're having a ball. Oh no, America, let's get real and laugh, teaching you the politics with a little bit of sass. Current events and headlines that blow your mind, only on Oh No America you'll find.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Oh No America. Oh my goodness, what happened with my ponytail here, guys? Thank you. Why didn't anybody tell me? Okay, I am a child of the 90s, okay, and we were obsessed with like perfectly flat ponies. I don't think that's happening for me today. The curls in my hair are taking over. They're taking over. I'm gonna turn down my heater. It is Chilly Willy's here in the garage today. I hope y'all had a good weekend. I certainly did. Last night, went to a new sushi train place. Have you guys been? This one was pretty authentic, I will say. Although I've never been to Japan, so scratch that. I don't know. But, you know, it's one of those places where they have like the little trains coming down. You can order stuff. It comes down on a special belt. They got robots bringing you your drinks. Yeah. Delicious. It was very fresh. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. The wife and I took one of our kiddos, and I think the psychology of these places, now this place, sometimes you go and you get the plates and then you just have like a stack of plates next to you, right? And you're like, oh shit, I've eaten so many plates, I gotta stop. That's gonna be expensive. Well, this place has a little slot at the end of the table for you to just fucking put your plate in. And then on this little screen above you, it's got like your plate count, right? And then you're like, oh shit, I had 26 plates. That's a lot. But after 15, they give you a little prize. You get a little prize. There's a little prize box for every 15 plates you eat. So I love sushi. But yeah, I digress. I mean, we're here to talk about Matt Gaetz. Wah, wah. Sad panda Matt Gaetz. He thought for sure my Republican homies are not going to release this ethics report about me. It's not going to happen. They are my friends. They are my friends. Why would they do that? They totally wouldn't do that. They did. The Republicans voted to release it, baby. Which gives me, guys, honestly, it gives me a little bit of hope about Project 2025. Because I honestly thought, you know, guys, I was like, Trump's got the royal flush, y'all. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. But let's take a look and see what the juicy hot goss is. And before we do that, I want to let you guys know, thank you so much for tuning in to Oh No America and for supporting me on this channel. I want to show you guys something here. Boom and the shakalaka. Here we go. Guys, we're at 2,617 watch hours. That is less than 400 watch hours to go for monetization. We are in it to win it, guys. This is much excite. I'm very, very excited. I think we can get that done before New Year's. I would be so unbelievably stoked to have that done by 2025. That's my goal. Let's get monetized. Whoever just downvoted that, I hope you get a lump of coal in your stocking and that Krampus comes and visits you. All right, let's look at this report, guys. So this is from the New York Times. I'm going to put up my little, where are you? Boom. Okay, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to the New York Times, its rightful owners, and no copyright infringement is intended. All right. Here we go. So this is the official, House of Representatives report number 118. I got to make this bigger, guys, because my eyes are old. I don't want the new Chrome. I don't know why you're pushing that on me. Just, there we go. Deet, 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 deet. There we go. Much better. Okay, so it's report number 118 dash whatever. All right, December 23rd. Adopted by the Committee on Ethics, December 10th, 2024, 118th Congress, second session. In the matter of the allegations relating to Representative Matt Gaetz, December 23rd, 2024, Mr. Guest from the Committee of Ethics submitted the following report with dissenting views. So let's get into it. Hang on one second. I get it, New York Times. I get it. You want everybody to buy your stuff. Oh, actually, let's just do that. There we go. All right. So the committee was Michael Guest, Susan Wild, David P. Joyce, Veronica Escobar, Mark DeSaliner, John Rutherford, Andrew Garbarino, Deborah Ross, Michael Fishback, and Glenn F. Ivey. The report staff were as follows. Those guys, investigative clerks. Here we go. Look at that official stuff here. Here we go. Letter of transmittal. The Honorable Kevin McCumber, acting clerk. Okay, so he signed it. Here we go. Dissenting views. In accordance with House Rule 11, clauses 3A and 2 and 3B, Committee on Ethics hereby submits the following report to the House of Representatives, including its views of Chairman Guest on behalf of a dissenting committee members. On April 9th, 2021, the committee announced it was investigating a series of widely reported allegations relating to Representative Matt Gaetz. At the request of the Department of Justice, the committee deferred its review during the 117th Congress. After it was organized for the 118th Congress, the committee reauthorized its investigation into the allegations involving Representative Gaetz. Specifically, the committee undertook a review of allegations that Gaetz may have engaged in sexual misconduct and or illicit drug use, shared inappropriate images or videos on the House floor, misused state identification records, converted campaign funds to personal use, and or accepted a bribe, improper gratuity, or impermissible gift. In June 2024, following extensive fact-finding, the committee determined to continue its review of the allegations of sexual misconduct, illicit drug use, and acceptance of impermissible gifts, and expanded its review to include allegations that Representative Gaetz may have dispensed special privileges and favors to individuals with whom he had a personal relationship. Uh-oh, hot dog. And obstructed government investigations into his conduct, even double uh-oh, hot dog. Oh my goodness. At that time, the committee determined to take no further actions on the allegations relating to the House floor, state identification records, personal use of campaign funds, and acceptance of the bribe of gratuity. Like they just overlooked all of that. And then on November 14th, so that's back on April. So then on November 14th, magically he resigned. Remember that, everybody? He resigned from the House. And then right after that, Trump announced his intention to nominate Gaetz for the position of Attorney General, which of course he has now withdrawn his application from. As a result of Representative Gaetz' resignation, the committee lost jurisdiction to continue its investigation. Gaetz subsequently withdrew from consideration for the position of Attorney General. At this time, he's not announced any intent to seek higher office or return to Congress. The committee has typically not released its finding after losing jurisdiction in a matter. However, asterisk, there are a few prior instances where the committee has determined that it was in the public interest to release its findings even after a member's resignation from Congress. The committee does not do so lightly. In this instance, although several committee members objected, a majority of the members on the committee agreed that the committee's findings should be released to the public. And here we go. In sum, the committee found substantial evidence of the following. From at least 2017 to 2020, 3 years, Representative Gaetz regularly paid women for engaging in sexual activity with him. He is married. In 2017, Representative Gaetz engaged in sexual activity with a 17-year-old girl. During the period of 2017 to 2019, Representative Gaetz used or possessed illegal drugs, including cocaine and ecstasy, on multiple occasions. Representative Gaetz accepted gifts, including transportation and lodging in connection with a 2018 trip to the Bahamas in excess of permissible amounts. Shock. Here's my shocked fact. In 2018, Representative Gaetz arranged for his chief of staff to assist a woman with whom he engaged in sexual activity in obtaining a passport, falsely indicating to the U.S. Department of State that she was a constituent. So he helped someone he banged get like an expedited passport under false pretenses. Was this so she could get the fuck out of the country because human trafficking? Like, hello. Oh, he got married in 2021. That lady is she thought she was getting a winner because he was a Trump ally. Representative Gaetz, knowing and willfully sought to impede and instruct the committee's investigation of his conduct. Obstruction of justice, guys. Representative Gaetz has acted in a manner that reflects discreditably upon the House. Yes, he has. Based on the above, the committee concluded there were substantial evidence that Representative Gaetz violated House rules, state and federal laws, and other standards of conduct prohibiting prostitution, statutory rape, illicit drug use, acceptance of impermissible gifts, the provision of special favors and privileges, and obstruction of Congress. The committee did not find sufficient evidence to conclude that Representative Gaetz violated the federal sex trafficking statute. Although Representative Gaetz did cause the transportation of women across state lines for purposes of commercial sex, the committee did not find evidence that any of those women were under 18 at the time of trial, nor did the committee find sufficient evidence to conclude that the commercial sex acts were induced by force, fraud, or coercion. So it doesn't count as human trafficking because there was no force, fraud, or coercion. Because, of course, women in the sex trade who are moved from state to state are totally doing it of their own free will. Always. Always. There's never a third party involved, colloquially known as a pimp, who is in charge of those women and strips them of their autonomy. So, of course, you know, we talked to the pimp and he said the ladies were fine. Representative Gaetz was uncooperative throughout the committee's review. I'm shocked again. He provided minimal documentation in response to the committee's requests. Yeah, what's he going to do? Like fork over his Venmos? He also did not agree to a voluntary interview. Yeah, because that guy has no poker face. He's got none. Can you imagine him getting interviewed about like how many times he paid for sex? during those years and trying to lie about it. He also did not, on July 11th, 2024, the committee issued a subpoena to Representative Gaetz for his testimony. He did not appear. Well, that's bullshit. Why wasn't he held in contempt? Why wasn't he put in jail? Despite having received notice of the date and time of the deposition, the committee then sent Representative Gaetz a set of written questions to which he issued a public response that ignored most of the direct questions about his misconduct and mischaracterized the committee's investigation and his participation up to that point. Despite Representative Gaetz' claims to the contrary, the committee's singular mission is to protect the integrity of the House. That's what ethics committees are supposed to do in Congress, is like make sure there isn't a bad apple floating around that's fucking up the works. That's the whole job. When faced with serious public allegations against a member, the committee will often investigate, and when such allegations are false, the committee has shared a goal with the respondent to disprove those allegations. That's very true. While committee considered whether to establish an investigative subcommittee to consider sanctions against Representative Gaetz, I don't know why y'all didn't. The committee ultimately determined that it would not risk the further victimization of the women involved in this matter. Most of the women with whom the committee spoke also gave statements to the Department of Justice and urged the committee to rely on those statements in lieu of requiring them to relive their experience. Now, these women were so traumatized by their experience that they did not want to go before the committee to testify, which would be re-traumatizing them. However, the committee found that there was no coercion, fraud, right, in the sex trafficking. Those two things cannot go together. If the women were so terrified for their safety to talk in front of this committee, there had to have been coercion, fraud, or manipulation at hand. They were particularly concerned with providing additional testimony about a sitting congressman in light of DOJ's lack of action on their prior testimony. Yeah. DOJ refused to provide the relevant statements and other significant evidence to the committee. Don't get me started on the Department of Justice right now. Merrick Garland has, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again because I'm still pissed, has been the singularly most ineffective attorney general we've ever had. I mean, Jesus Christ, Bill Barr might have even been better than him. And I don't even like Bill Barr. Like, at least when he took on a case, he fucking got it, into the system and got it done. Fuck's sake. DOJ refused to provide the relevant statements and other significant evidence to the committee. Like, what the fuck, Merrick Garland? What the actual fuck? They cited internal policies about protecting uncharged subjects. I'm sorry. Women who were sex trafficked filed a complaint with you, but he's not charged, so we can't give you the data. Like, what the point? What's the point of the justice system? What is the point of any justice system for any victim out there? Well, the person's not charged, so we really can't, give it to the people who could do something about it. I mean, you can go tell them, but we can't tell them what you told us because, just kind of conflicts with our morals. Like, fuck that. You have an obligation. You have a fucking edict. You have, an oath to uphold. You're supposed to be protecting, people against criminals like Matt Gaetz. And you're fucking not. This is just awful. Yeah, but selfless, he did that. My point is that when he went to go do something, he went all in and he did it, and it didn't take 500 years. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Concerns about how DOJ's cooperation with the committee may deter other victims in other matters. I'm deterred from talking to you now, Department of Justice, about anything because clearly you don't fucking do your job. If you have evidence from me about a crime and then that criminal is getting called before some other fucking piece of the justice system, you better fucking tell them what I told you. Stop making it the victims' jobs to re-traumatize themselves when they go to a place of justice, supposedly. It's called the Department of Justice. And then be like, well, you know, it's all confidential now. And various inapposite policies relating to congressional oversight of the DOJ itself. Like, yeah, it's a bad look. You guys are like supposed to be in charge of us, so we can't just give you what you want. Then it looks like, you know, we're just your lapdogs. Like, ugh, you know. Oh, man, this is just bullshit. DOJ's initial deferral request and subsequent lack of cooperation with the committee's review caused significant delays in the investigation. Those delays were compounded by Representative Gaetz' obstruction efforts. The committee has determined that its findings must be released without further impediments. Yay. Accordingly, on December 10th, 2024, the committee voted on whether to release this report. Several members did not support its release. A majority of the members voted in favor, which means there were some Republicans that voted yes. All right. So they announced it was investigating allegations, inappropriate images, blah, 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 blah. The funds, the stuff we already said. Okay. In February, multiple witnesses. Okay. They were no longer doing it. April, June. The scope of the inquiry would focus on allegations of sexual misconduct, illicit drug use, acceptance of improper gifts, suspension of special privileges and favors to individuals with whom he had a personal relationship, and obstruction of government investigations. At that time, the committee also stated it would not continue to investigate allegations of sharing inappropriate images or videos on the House floor. Yeah, they dropped that. Guys, because totally nobody wanted to open up that can of worms, because if Matt Gaetz gets busted for showing porn on the floor, who else is going down with that ship? Who would he possibly name? Who else is showing this stuff? And what kind of porn was it? That's what I want to know. Misusing state identification records, converting campaign funds to personal use, and accepting a bribe or improper gratuity. So they just want to focus on the sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, mostly. Acceptance of improper gifts. Yeah. They sent 9 requests for information and 6 FOIA requests. The committee also authorized 29 subpoenas for documents and testimony, reviewed nearly 14,000 documents, and contacted more than 24 witnesses. The committee also received sworn and written responses from an associate of Representative Gaetz, Joel Greenberg, as discussed further below. But there's credibility issues. Shortly after the DOJ withdrew its deferral request and the committee reauthorized its review, the committee sent DOJ a request after 3 months. Fucking hell, 3 months without a response. Despite repeated follow-up, the committee submitted a FOIA request to several relevant DOJ offices, which to date have not been adequately processed. The committee continued to reach out to DOJ throughout 2023, having still not received a substantive response to the request for information. On January 12th, the committee received its first correspondence. Like, we're months and months later, they received correspondence from the DOJ. At that time, they provided no substantive response or explanation for its delay. Well, just go fuck yourself. Instead, they simply stated it does not provide non-public information about law enforcement investigations that do not result in charges. This policy, however, is inconsistent with DOJ's historical conduct with respect to the committee and its unique role in upholding the integrity of the House. Yeah, this is bullshit. Thereafter, the committee determined to issue a subpoena to DOJ to obtain records relating to its investigation. DOJ did not comply with the subpoena by the date required, but suggested it remained committed to good faith engagement with the committee. In the spirit of cooperation, the committee provided a list of specific responsive documents setting out particularized demands to the subpoena. Like, they were getting as specific as possible. Okay? Among the particularized demands was a request for any exculpatory evidence relating to Representative Gaetz. On March 13th, committee members met with the Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legislative Affairs and the Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division of DOJ. The DOJ officials again cited no legal basis for failing to comply with the subpoena. The DOJ subsequently requested additional context for the committee's demands. We need some more. Could you tell me more about why you want these things? Which the committee provided. After further attempts at meaningful accommodation of DOJ's concerns about the breadth of the committee's requests, DOJ ultimately provided publicly reported information about the testimony of a deceased individual. Not even the shit they were asking for. This is some shit that was in the news somewhere already. To date, DOJ has provided no meaningful evidence or information to the committee or cited any lawful basis for its responses. The DOJ is a fucking joke. This is a fucking joke. That this guy with all this shit that, yeah, was publicly available, and then women go to testify before them to give evidence, and they won't turn it over. The committee hopes to continue to engage with DOJ on the broader issues raised by its failure to recognize the committee's unique mandate. As the committee has told the Department of Justice, the committee and DOJ should be partners in their shared mission of upholding integrity of our governmental institutions. Yeah. Hi, Abraham. The committee initially made narrowly tailored requests for information to Representative Gaetz, seeking information limited to the allegations that would not be within DOJ's jurisdiction. The alleged acceptance of an improper gift and sharing of nude images and videos on the House floor. The request also invited Representative Gaetz to provide additional information relevant to any allegations under review. Gaetz sought numerous extensions and complained about the burden of the request. Gaetz ultimately provided only 3 pages of information in response to the committee's initial request. On May 20th, the committee requested Gaetz inform the committee whether he would agree to participate in a voluntary interview and provided him a list of allegations so that he could make any response or provide any information regarding the allegations. Like, bro, we're going to make this easy for you. We're going to make it easy for you. Okay. On May 24th, 4 days later, Gaetz provided brief written denials of the allegations and demanded that the committee address leaks prior to me providing any oral testimony to the committee. So now he's going to accuse the committee of leaking all this shit to the press. On June 28th, okay, we got another month go by here, the committee requested that Gaetz provide the committee with all the records previously produced to the DOJ, as well as dates of availability for an interview by July 8th. Gave him like 2 weeks. At that time, the committee made an explicit request for any exonerating information, like also give us the deets, guys. If you got the tea and he didn't do it, send it our way. The committee also informed Gaetz that it would not permit further delays. Like, we're done, bro. Gaetz did not produce the requested documents or dates of availability. And on July 10th, 2 days after he was supposed to show up, he asked for an extension through the August recess to produce documents he deemed appropriate. Representative Gaetz did not provide these documents despite multiple extensions provided by the committee. The committee noted to Representative Gaetz that an interview would be an opportunity to respond to the allegations against you and relevant questions arising out of the review. However, he declined to voluntarily participate, again making demands of the committee instead. On July 11th, the committee issued a subpoena for Gaetz. The subpoena was served electronically to Gaetz and his chief of staff, who had communicated with the committee on behalf of the congressman throughout the investigation. Representative Gaetz did not appear to testify pursuant to the committee's subpoena. Gaetz did not provide legal basis for his failure to appear, but informed the committee that, quote, upon information and belief, the House will not take action to enforce the subpoena. Catch me if you can, motherfuckers. Cash me outside. Like, he's like, y'all are bluffing. You're not going to do anything to me, so why should I fucking come? Wow. The committee informed Representative Gaetz that following his failure to comply with a subpoena and to provide fulsome response to previous requests for information, the committee would rely on the record available to make its findings in this matter. Gaetz responded by stating that he had prioritized providing evidence that most clearly and directly proves his innocence, and stated that he welcomed written questions from the committee. The committee subsequently sent a set of written questions to Gaetz. Gaetz issued his response publicly, which did not answer most of the questions, and asserted he would no longer voluntarily participate. Let me see if I can. This is back in July. I'm just trying to see. Oh, Mangione. Mangione's right there, live in court, y'all. Yeah, I don't think I can find it. I was just trying to find that. He did go out and talk to the press and like make all these comments. I was just trying to find that. That's fine. And on November 14th, 2024, Gaetz submitted his resignation to the House. On December 10th, while several members of the committee objected, a majority of the members voted to release the report. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. I agree. DOA's megaphone. I agree. Fuck around and find out season is off to a great start. That's correct. Correct. Oh, I brought you up twice here. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that one as well. All right. So, Section 1591, Title 18, United States Code prohibits trafficking, including recruiting, enticing, or transporting a minor for commercial sex. While knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that the victim is a minor, Section 1591 also prohibits trafficking adults for commercial sex using force, threats of force, fraud, or coercion. And like I said earlier, these women who went and told the DOJ their story, then were like, bro, we can't keep testifying. You got to just like take our word for it where we already said it. If that doesn't indicate force, threats of force, fraud, or coercion, I don't know what does. The Mann Act 18 USC 2421 prohibits the knowing transportation of individuals through interstate or foreign commerce to engage in prostitution or other illegal sexual activity. Yeah. Section 2423 specifically prohibits the transportation of minors with the intent to engage in commercial sex or illegal sexual activity. However, if a defendant establishes that she reasonably believed that the individual with whom she engaged in commercial sex was at least 18 years old, the defendant may avoid criminal liability. They're not limited to the transportation of minors, but criminal division of the DOJ has stated does not prosecute these statutes in every case in which they are violated, but only where there's evidence of a victim of severe forms of trafficking in persons. I love that the DOJ gets to decide what looks like severe forms of trafficking. Do they have one single trauma-informed person there at the DOJ? Do y'all have one woman to interview these people to like fucking understand what they're saying with their body language and their words. Federal law also prohibits obstruction of Congress. Specifically under 18 U.S.C. 1505, it's a crime either corruptly or through threats to influence, obstruct, or impede the due and proper exercise of the proper of inquiry. Well, he did that on several occasions of a House committee or to endeavor to do so. Federal law also prohibits tampering with witnesses in a congressional proceeding. It is a crime to knowingly intimidate, threaten, or corruptly persuade or attempt to do so, or to engage in misleading conduct toward an individual with the intent to influence, delay, or prevent the testimony of any person in an official proceeding. Yeah, witness tampering is fucking illegal. The witness tampering statute also prohibits the lesser offense of intentionally harassing a witness in an attempt to dissuade the witness from testifying. False statements to Congress in connection with an investigation are also prohibited. Now, Florida's law. Here we go. Under Florida's statutory rape law, is a felony for a person 24 years of age or older to engage in sexual activity with a 16 or 17-year-old. Matt. It's a felony what you did. A person charged with this offense may not claim ignorance or misrepresentation of the minor's age as defense. Matt. Nope. It's also a criminal offense under Florida state law to solicit, induce, entice, or procure another to commit prostitution, or to purchase the services of any person engaged in prostitution. Matt, your Venmo tells us all of these things. Or to aid, abet, or participate in such actions. Florida defines prostitution as the giving or receiving of the body for sexual activity for hire, but excludes sexual activity between spouses. Well, thank God, Florida. Thank God. Because if I couldn't have sex with my wife in Florida because it's considered prostitution, like, what? Why did you even have to put that in there, Florida? Why would a spouse pay another spouse money? I don't know. I guess people do a lot of role playing down there in Florida. I don't know. In Florida, unauthorized possession of controlled substances, hot dog Matt, is also a criminal offense. Schedule 1 and 2 controlled substances like cocaine, ecstasy, are deemed by Florida law as having high potential for abuse. Cocaine and MDMA, commonly referred to as ecstasy or Molly, are controlled substances. Matthew, you are a criminal. Pursuant to 5 U.S.C. 7353 and House Rule 25, Clause 5, the gift rule, members of Congress are subject to broad limitations on the solicitation and acceptance of gifts. Under the gift rule, members may not knowingly accept any gift except as provided in the rule. As the ethics manual explains, gifts include gratuities, favors, discounts, entertainment, hospitality, loans, forbearances, services, training, travel expenses, in-kind contributions, advance payment, and reimbursement after the fact. The general provision of the gift rule allows a member to accept the gift valued at less than $50, so long as the source of the gift is not a registered lobbyist, foreign agent, or private entity that retains or employs such individuals. $50. Guys, Congress is held to the same standards that anyone working in corporate America is. When I worked at T-Mobile, we had the same rules. You can't accept a gift from an outside vendor or anyone else over $50. Period. The end. I love how somebody back in the day was like, well, if it's less than $50, it's definitely not going to influence them in any way, shape, or form, because who could be bought off for $50? That is ridiculous. I don't know who that is. I will call them back later. A gift received through personal friendship where the fair market value is more than $250 requires formal approval from the committee. With respect to a trip, the value is viewed as a whole and thus includes transportation, lodging, meal expenses paid for by the gift giver. Certain considerations must be made in determining whether to accept a gift of over $250 related to personal friendship, such as the history of the personal friendship, including any previous occasions of exchanging gifts, whether the gift giver personally paid for the gift or sought a tax deduction or business reimbursement for the gift, whether the gift giver gave similar gifts to other members, officers, or employees of the house. In addition, members are required to report the receipt of certain gifts from non-relatives where the aggregate value exceeds the minimal value. The minimal value of 2024 is $480, excluding any gifts valued under $192. In 2018 was $390. Okay. So if your family takes you on a trip, because you guys, since you were a child, always went to, the Alps, that's fine. Nobody got a problem with that. Okay. But if the head of Chevron wants to take you to the Super Bowl and put you in his box and take you to, fucking steak dinner and shit and fly you out there on his Gulfstream, that's a problem. There's also an exemption for gifts of personal hospitality for which there's no value limit and no reporting requirement. The personal hospitality exemption, however, is limited. It applies only to stays and meals in someone's personally owned home. Does not include air travel to get to that location or stays in a property that's rented out. Okay, so if Kevin Costner comes and he's like, bro, I want you to come stay in my ranch. Get yourself out here and you stay with me and we're going to go fucking ride horses and shit. That could be okay. Right? Oh, man, these rules are a bummer. But you're a public servant. You're not supposed to be swayed by all this bullshit, right? You're supposed to be there to serve the American people. House Rule 23, Clause 15 governs the payment for use of non-commercial aircraft by House members. Yeah, private jets. Members may use personal funds for the use of an aircraft supplied by an individual on the basis of personal friendship. So if you and Kevin Costner grew up together and y'all are homies and he flies you out on his Gulfstream, that's okay. That's okay. Members may only accept a flight on a non-commercial aircraft without reimbursement under the limited circumstances of the gift rule. As a general matter, the personal friendship exception can apply only if the aircraft is owned by the member's personal friend. The use of aircraft is for personal purposes, and the member receives written approval from the committee where the value is in excess of $250. So I'd still have to petition the committee. Bro, my homie Kevin Costner wants to fly me out on his Gulfstream because we're going to go hang my fam and his fam. We're going to go, skiing in Vail. Cool beans. Section 5341 of Title II United States Code establishing the member's representational allowance provides that its purpose is to support the conduct of the official and representational duties of a member, right? So they get money, guys. They get money to do stuff, to go around and check on all the things, et cetera, right? However, that assistance to a non-constituent is not entirely prohibited under this statute. In some instances, working for non-constituents on matters that are similar to those facing constituents may enable the member to better serve his or her district. Nonetheless, members should not devote official resources to casework for individuals who live outside of their district, but instead may refer the person to his or her own representative or senator, right? So this is about Matt getting that passport for a non-constituent, right? He used his personal, house funds that are supposed to be used in service to his constituents to get a non-constituent, like a favor. The Code of Ethics for Government Service sets forth standards of conduct for all government employees. Paragraph 2 of that code provides that those in government service should uphold constitutional laws. and legal regulations of the United States and of all governments therein, and never be a party to their evasion. Hot dog, Matt. Paragraph 5 states that they should never discriminate unfairly by the dispensing of special favors or privileges to anyone. Whether for remuneration or not, all public servants are charged under the code with upholding the principles articulated, ever conscious that public office is a public trust. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So March 30th, the New York Times reported that Representative Gaetz was under investigation for violation of the sex trafficking laws. The investigation reportedly related to allegations had the sexual relationship with a 17-year-old and paid for her travel with him. That is called sex trafficking, Matt. By all that stuff we just read, guys, all that legal mumbo jumbo, that's sex trafficking. It's also illegal. It's statutory rape in the state of Florida, even. On April 1st, 2021, additional reporting indicated the federal investigation included allegations involving cash payments for the use of illegal substances, the recruitment of women online for sex, and the use of campaign funds to pay for travel for women. This seems like an open and shut case, DOJ. The DOJ investigation was part of an ongoing inquiry involving former county tax collector in Florida named Joel Greenberg, who was sentenced to 11 years in prison. Yeah. Like, this guy was also doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Just Google Joel Greenberg. Okay, so this was his arrangement. The committee's records show that shortly after he was sworn into Congress in 2017, Gaetz became friends with Mr. Greenberg, who had also recently, just by chance, taken office as the Seminole County tax collector. Convenient. According to Mr. Greenberg, the two met at the house of Christopher Dorworth, a Florida lobbyist. Mr. Greenberg and Gaetz frequently attended parties and other gatherings with young women in attendance. Dun, dun, dun. Many of those women were initially contacted by Mr. Greenberg via the website seekingarrangement.com. Let's go there. I got to look at it. Fun. The luxury experience. Date beautiful, wealthy, successful people. Kissies. Passion. Successful and driven men who flop on their bed. Beautiful and intelligent women. Look at her reading in her lingerie. Yes, connect on a deeper level. Don't. I like to show you the Maldives. I'm in. Flowers. Lingerie. Lips. I'm sorry. Seeking stands at the forefront of sophisticated matchmaking, where accomplished individuals can make exceptional connections and find hypergamy. Hypergamy. What is hypergamy? Hypergamy. The practice of marrying or dating someone who is of a higher social status or has more sexual capital than the individual. How do you get sexual capital? Is this like a video game? Like, I gotta up my sexual capital in the Sims and shit? What? I see. So people with money and people who have, AKA find me a sugar daddy. I need one. Where's my sugar daddy? Please. You want to see pictures of my feet? I will send them. Let's call me sugar daddies. Let me know. You tell me what photos you want. Okay. So they two met. They went to that website, seekingarrangement.com. Now, seeking.com. Oh, I see they changed it. Seeking.com. .com. Sorry. I'm sorry. And Mr. Greenberg subsequently introduced the women to Gaetz. Seekingarrangement.com advertised itself as sugar dating website that primarily connected older men and younger women seeking mutually beneficial relationships. The website was generally understood by many of the women interviewed by the committee to involve, at minimum, exchange of companionship for money. Hey, you want to be a friend to me and you want to give me some money and you want to snuggle in my bosom for an hour and cry into it? I will do that. I will do that. The website was generally under There have been prosecutions against individuals for sex trafficking that originated with contacts made through seekingarrangement.com or similar websites. And some have called the website to be shut down due to its facilitation of prostitution. Platforms such as seekingarrangement.com are known to make it easier for traffickers to exploit victims and connect with buyers. Selfless. By men and... Okay, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. The committee did not receive any evidence that Gaetz had his own account on seekingarrangement.com. Yeah. He was smart, and it was probably his fucking secretary. Mr. Greenberg indicated he frequently showed the site to Representative Gaetz and that he provided his login credentials to Representative Gaetz. So I see. So Joel Greenberg was like, bro, I'm in charge of Seminole County tax. It's all good. I guess what website I'm a member of, bro. Here, I'm a email. Let me text you my deets. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, for fuck's sake. According to Mr. Greenberg, he and Gaetz would split the costs. Did you guys use Splitwise? They would split the costs of drugs, hotels, and girls. How nice. They're just such like a cute couple, Greenberg and Gaetz, you know? For example, the committee reviewed evidence that such activity occurred in July of 2017, specifically evidence showing that Gaetz, Mr. Greenberg, and others gathered at a rental property located in the Brickell neighborhood of Miami for a weekend beginning on July 7th, 2017. Representative Gaetz and Mr. Greenberg also spent time in Fort Lauderdale. Woohoo! Because what? Spring break, summer break. During which time Gaetz withdrew at least $1,200 in cash from 3 different accounts at a single ATM. So he puts one card in, one card in, one card in, doing 400, 400, 400. So he doesn't raise any red flags, except for you use the same ATM, dum-dum. Ah, fucking idiot. On June 22nd, 2017, Representative Gaetz paid $6,308 for that rental booking. On July 9th, Mr. Greenberg paid Representative Gaetz $1,600 by check. Mr. Greenberg stated the check was reimbursement for a share of the rental. Greenberg also noted that they met up with another individual for dinner that weekend and shared a photo of Representative Gaetz himself and the other individual on social media. Who did he meet up with? Look at this guy. This guy's a total winner, too. Who's that guy? Who's this guy? There's Greenberg, there's Gaetz, and then there's this fool. Oh, that's Greenberg. And then there's some other bajumba. Who's the guy? It looks like he has a weird beard. It's some lady's hair behind him. But is this like a mafia dude? Who's that? No. He always wants to look like Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Yeah. Oh, Chris Dorworth. Didn't we hear that name earlier? Didn't we hear that name earlier in the report? We did. Who was Mr. Oh, he's a lobbyist, right? The committee received evidence confirming that Gaetz at times personally made payments to women who attended parties with him and Mr. Greenberg using various peer-to-peer electronic payment services, as well as checks and cash. Yeah, Venmo. The committee's record also indicates that Mr. Greenberg sometimes paid women for having sex with Representative Gaetz and was sometimes reimbursed by Representative Gaetz. So Greenberg would pay for it, and then he would get I'll hit you back. I'm good for it. Witnesses indicated there were times where a lump sum would be sent to one woman who would then distribute the money evenly among the others who had attended the parties. Likewise, in one instance, Gaetz sent $400 to Mr. Greenberg with the note, "Hit up victim A." Mr. Greenberg then sent 2 women payments of $400, including victim A. On August 19th, 2020, Mr. Greenberg was indicted on charges related to his misuse of motor vehicle records and identification documents in his role as Seminole County tax collector and his attempt to falsely accuse a political opponent of being a pedophile. He was additionally charged with sex trafficking of a child, victim A, wire fraud, bribery of a public official, theft of government property, and related charges. So how does this bajumba get fucking indicted, okay, get charged with sex trafficking, and Matt Gaetz doesn't? And he's the one who had the sex. I mean, how does he not get indicted for that? Wire fraud, bribery of a public official, theft of government property, and related charges. He pleaded guilty to 6 charges, including sex trafficking victim A in May 2021, but his sentencing was delayed until December of 2022. Wow. Like a fucking year and a half, due to his ongoing cooperation in several other matters. So he was fucking ratting out Matt Gaetz for 18 months. And they still didn't get him. As part of his cooperation, he provided information that was ultimately corroborated, ended in successful prosecutions. Of who? Of the pimps? From 2017 to 2020, Gaetz made tens of thousands of dollars in payments to women that the committee determined were likely in connection with sexual activity and or drug use. Tens of thousands of dollars over a 3-year period for sex and drugs. Payments were made to these women using peer-to-peer payment platforms such as PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. While Representative Gaetz had accounts in his name on each of those platforms, he also sometimes paid women through another person's PayPal account or through an account held under a pseudonymous email account. Representative Gaetz paid some of the women by check or cash. How old-fashioned. The following chart summarizes payments made by Gaetz to Mr. Greenberg and to women via peer-to-peer. Women went former girlfriend, $63,000, guys. Over a 3-year period. That's $20,000 a year for what? Woman 2, okay? This is over a 1-year period, $4,100. Another 1-year period, $2,600. Look at all these women. 12 women that he's paid all this money to. Oh, this woman 7, man. Just the one time. This lady was more expensive for one time. He liked her twice, one time. One time. Look at all these women that he was doing this multiple times with. See, I didn't even look at the dates. I could already tell you it was just one time. Committee's record indicates that Representative Gaetz was in a long-term relationship with woman one, and therefore some of the payments may have been of legitimate nature. However, as discussed further below, woman one asserted her Fifth Amendment right when asked whether the payments to her from Representative Gaetz were for sexual activity and or drugs. I'm taking the fifth. Sounds incriminating. I know everybody's always like, that's incriminating. She's guilty. Whenever anyone takes the fifth, but you know. Yeah. Based on that assertion, combined with evidence received from other sources, the committee found substantial reason to believe that most of these payments were for such activity. Yeah, honey, people know you. They know what's up. The committee was not able to speak with every woman who received payments from Representative Gaetz that were suspected of being part of illicit activity. Several women initially were responsive to the committee's outreach, but later told the committee they would not voluntarily participate. Gee, I wonder what happened. Other women were clear at first contact that they feared retaliation or were unwilling to voluntarily relive their interactions with Gaetz. Sex trafficking victims! Due to the women's reluctance to cooperate, as well as the delay caused by DOJ's deferral request and subsequent refusal to provide meaningful cooperation, the committee was unable to determine the full extent to which Gaetz' payments to women were compensation for engaging in sexual activity with him. Not one fucking trauma-informed person on this committee. Well, they don't want to talk. They're just bitches. Like, can we please start getting some trauma-informed people on these things to ask the questions in a way where people, you know, and also if people feel threatened, that should tell you right up front. What the fuck is happening? Sorry. Representative Gaetz refused to answer questions about his relationships with the women involved. There was, however, evidence that he understood and shared many of the women's transactional views of their arrangements. In one text exchange viewed by the committee, Representative Gaetz balked at a woman's request that he send her money after he accused her of ditching him on a night when she was feeling tired, claiming she only gave him a drive-by. She only gave him a drive-by. Wow. The woman asserted to Gaetz that she was being treated differently than other women he was paying for sex. The committee also obtained text messages in which Representative Gaetz' then girlfriend informed some of the women who were typically paid for sex that the guys, Gaetz and Greenberg, wanted me to share that they are a little limited in their cash flow for this weekend. Matt was like, if it can be more of a customer appreciation week, can y'all give us like a 2 for discount? Like we're both coming to come. So like, it's going to be fun for you guys too. And we've given you so much in the past. Can you guys, you know, help us out? Clearly this woman was totally just his girlfriend and not like a madam to these other women. Okay. Totally. A few months later, she noted that, by the way, Matt also mentioned he's going to be a bit generous because of the customer appreciation thing last time. He's going to be generous, ladies. Big tipper. Another woman specifically recalled a conversation with Representative Gaetz about issues with Mr. Greenberg's following through with expected payments after Mr. Greenberg's encounter was with her. Mr. Greenberg told the committee that Representative Gaetz was aware that the women they had sex with and paid and met Mr. Greenberg through the sugar dating website. Gaetz did not appear to have negotiated specific payment amounts prior to engaging in sexual activity with the women he paid. Instead, the women had a general expectation that they would typically receive some amount of money. Just however you feel, whatever you feel like it, honey. You just leave that right there on the nightstand and get the fuck out of here. In 2017, using a pseudonymous, that's a hard word to say, account, Representative Gaetz made payments to women largely without a description of the purpose of the payment. Check on one thing here. After several months, he began to use other payment accounts, including ones with his own name, using innocuous descriptions to indicate the purpose of the payments. Gaetz did not provide any information regarding the tens of thousands of dollars in payments he made to over a dozen women, despite being offered the opportunity to do so by the committee. Gaetz was provided with a list of women who the committee found received payments from him beginning in 2017 and was asked to inform the committee of the purpose of those payments. Bro, this is why you just pay cash. Like, just pay cash. I don't understand why people are so dumb. You know your Venmo, PayPal, and fucking Cash App got your name on it. And these women are keeping track of that. They got to pay taxes. Stupid. If you engaged in any sexual activity with the individual, did she ever indicate to you that she was expected payment for engaging in sexual activity with you? Rather than answer the questions, Gaetz asserted incorrectly, you ask in part whether I've had sex with a list of adult women over the past 7 years. The lawful, consensual sexual activities of adults are not the business of Congress. Sir, paying for sex is not lawful. And we didn't ask if the ladies were consenting, but that's interesting that you chose to throw that out there. Because now we have a whole other list of questions. Many of the women interviewed by the committee were clear that there was a general expectation of sex. One woman who was paid more than $5,000 by Gaetz between 2018 and 2019 told the committee 99% of the time Gaetz and I were hanging out, there was sex involved. Except for that one time he took me for ice cream because he had a sad day. Text messages obtained by the committee show that Representative Gaetz would also ask women to bring drugs to their rendezvous. In some instances, requesting marijuana cartridges and repaying the women directly. Because, you know, he's a vapor. He's a vapor. But in other cases, requesting a full complement of party favors, vitamins, or rolls. Gaetz sent one woman several $100s for marijuana cartridges. One woman stated with respect to a 2018 Bahamas trip, myself and Gaetz' then girlfriend brought drugs with us. And I do know that Matt supplied his then girlfriend with money. Another woman who said that she brought cocaine to at least one event with Gaetz and that she witnessed him taking cocaine or ecstasy on at least 5 occasions. Mr. Greenberg told the committee that he would typically provide drugs such as ecstasy for events he attended, and Gaetz would pay him back in cash. Several other women observed Gaetz to be under the influence of drugs. Additionally, nearly every witness interviewed observed Gaetz using marijuana, which is a no-no when you're a congressman. You're not supposed to engage in any of that. Based on the evidentiary record, the committee identified at least 20 occasions from the beginning of 2017 through the middle of 2020 where where there was substantial evidence that Representative Gaetz met with women who were paid for sex and or drugs. The committee received testimony related to multiple additional events, trips, parties where Representative may have paid women for sex and drugs, although the committee would not determine the specific dates or locations for all of them. To the extent Gaetz paid money to women in connection with those trips, at least some such transactions are reflected in the chart discussed in the prior section. One of the women that Mr. Greenberg met on seekingarrangement.com and introduced to Gaetz in or around March 2017 became his girlfriend. Oh, that's so sweet. When he was almost 35 and she was 21. Just a 14-year difference. No big whoop. The relationship continued for over 2 years. The relationship was not exclusive. The committee received evidence that Gaetz' then girlfriend sometimes participated with him in sexual encounters with other women. who were active on the website or otherwise involved in sex for money arrangements. He likes a little menage a trois. This is so like typical dude stuff. Why are dudes so obsessed with like watching women do it with each other? Like, this is just so typical. It's just not even, there's nothing original here. Matt, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, Matthew. The committee also obtained text messages where she appeared to act as an intermediary between Gaetz and the women he paid for sex. Hello? That's called being a madam. A madam. She herself was paid tens of thousands of dollars, 63 to be exact, by Gaetz over the course of their 2-year relationship. Matt always paid for anything for me. However, she invoked her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination in response to several questions, including what the purpose of the specific payments was, whether Gaetz ever paid her money for sex, and whether she was aware of Representative Gaetz paying others for sex. She also invoked her Fifth Amendment privilege when asked to explain an increase in payments from Gaetz in 2019, whether any of the payments from Gaetz were related to drugs, and whether payments she received from Mr. Greenberg were related to Gaetz. The committee obtained messages between Greenberg and a 20-year-old woman he met through seekingarrangement.com, who noted, "I usually do $400 per meet." As shown in the following exchange, Mr. Greenberg and the woman made plans to each bring a friend to their meet. The committee found that the language used by the woman and the amount proposed were consistent with typical pay-per-meet arrangements made by users of seekingarrangement.com at that time. Here's the texts. If this is between Joel and the 20-year-old. If you have a friend that's down, perhaps all 4 of us can meet up later. Do you party at all? Ooh, that's perfect. I have a friend who introduced me to the website that I could bring. She's very pretty, great personality. I usually do $400 per meet. Does your friend use the website as well? And yes, I do like to go out sometimes. Very cool. Yes. He understands the deal. What does your friend look like? 400 is not a problem. Are you both old enough to drink? So what do you have in mind for tonight? My friend sending a weird picture of Matt Gaetz taking a selfie of himself. Is he sitting on a toilet? Where the fuck is this? Ooh, my friend thinks he's really cute. Well, he's down here only for the day. We work hard and play hard. Have you ever tried Molly? Who would text that? What are you, 10? Have you ever had Skittles? Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't have a regular picture of Matt Gaetz? You got the one of him in like the shit pose, like, God. Evidence reviewed by the committee shows that on several occasions, Representative Gaetz met with women who corresponded with Mr. Greenberg. In these messages, he continued to follow her on social media and has paid her more than $2,000. What's that divided by 4, guys? That's 5. He met her 5 times. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The committee received evidence indicating that the 20-year-old woman in the above messages joined Mr. Greenberg and Gaetz at a hotel in Florida less than 2 weeks after initial encounter. The committee record indicates that Gaetz was also invited another woman who he regularly paid for sex to meet him at the hotel, without disclosing to her that others would be present. The other woman, who was 21 years old, had recently asked the congressman for help with her tuition. She recalled that Gaetz agreed and told her to meet him at the hotel room, where he would provide her with a check, which according to the woman was interesting because he'd normally sent Venmo payments. This time, this bitch wanted a check. You send me a check, motherfucker. My grandma wants to know who I'm getting paid by. Sorry, guys. I forgot to take my Nurtec. It's important. For my migraines. Thanks, Lady Gaga. Huh? Right? I don't need a migraine today. Jesus. I'm still recovering from yesterday, guys. Okay. She recalled that Gaetz agreed and told her to meet him at the hotel room, where he would provide her with a check, which, according to the woman, she was weirded because he was going to give her the check instead of Venmo. When she arrived to pick up the check, she found Mr. Greenberg and the 20-year-old present. The 21-year-old told the committee there was an expectation of a sexual encounter. The four of them had sex, and afterwards, Gaetz gave her a $750 check made out to cash with tuition reimbursement in the memo line, which she deposited the next day to help her pay her tuition. This woman told the committee she believed that the encounter could potentially be a form of coercion because I really needed the money. Yeah. Gaetz' financial records confirmed that he wrote the check and that he was present at the hotel identified by the woman on the date identified by her. As another example, the committee obtained text messages that appeared to show Gaetz messaging a woman he knew through Mr. Greenberg, inviting her to travel on a private plane to Key West from May 19th through 21st, 2017, with 2 guys and 4 girls. Totally normal. Very high quality, adventurous group. She initially responded, "Yeah, I'm in," to which Gaetz stated, "Fantastic. As it is true with all time you spend with me, it'll be fun and very chill." The same woman was photographed with Gaetz on May 19th, 2017 in Orlando. The photograph depicts Gaetz in a casual shirt with his arm around her in a dimly lit bar. She was also photographed in front of a helicopter with 3 other women associated with Gaetz around the same time, including his then girlfriend. After the committee obtained copies of the text messages and selfie photo, there was public reporting about the evidence. In response to the reporting, Gaetz' spokesperson, can you imagine being that person? Can you imagine having been Matt Gaetz' fucking spokesperson and having to lie about this shit? Released a statement asserting that Representative Gaetz does not know anything about the woman you're referencing, though he takes thousands of selfies each year. I remember when that happened. Payment records reviewed by the committee, however, showed that Representative Gaetz paid $600 to the woman the same day he was photographed with her. Interesting. In February 2018, Mr. Greenberg introduced Gaetz to 2 women with accounts on seekingarrangement.com. They were generally older than the other women that Mr. Greenberg had previously introduced to Representative Gaetz. Oh, gross. They might be 25, 26. And they had slightly different relationship with the 2 men. They were only women paid by Representative Gaetz, who denied to the committee that the payments they received from the congressman were compensation for engaging in sexual activity. What did I say? 25. I was just guessing. I hadn't even gotten to that line yet. One of the women, who was 25 years old when she met Gaetz, testified that she understood herself to be more sophisticated than some of the other women on seekingarrangement.com. In contrast to the women who almost exclusively interacted with Gaetz in hotel rooms or at private parties, the women attended events as Gaetz' date, for which she was paid between $500 and $1,000 per event. She also stated she did not feel pressured to have sex with him and only did so on some occasions. She told the committee that in December 2019, Gaetz had his congressional assistant arrange travel for her to Washington, D.C. for 1 night. According to the woman, she attended a dinner with Gaetz and a few other individuals. She stayed overnight at a hotel with Gaetz and had sex with him. Gaetz sent the woman $1,000 around that time. The woman told the committee she was paid to be his date and that sex was not necessarily an expectation. 27. The other older woman, who was 27 years old when she met Gaetz, was the only woman interviewed by the committee who did not view their relationship as transactional in nature. The first time she met Gaetz, however, she had sex with him and was paid $1,000. Mr. Greenberg, which she understood to have been Representative Gaetz' direction. So she didn't think that was transactional. Okay. She told the committee that she viewed her relationship with Gaetz as more or less dating, although it was never anything serious. She said she was not familiar with his then girlfriend, and she was not aware that he was also having a sexual relationship with her friend, the 25-year-old woman. who was also on the same fucking website where you get paid for meetups. She frequently commented on his social media, and he still follows her on social media. Most of the sex for money encounters that the committee reviewed occurred in Florida, where it's illegal, particularly around Orlando. Several of the women involved were students based in that area. Yeah, because fucking college is expensive, guys. And so young women get convinced by websites like seeking.com to, like you'll just go be friends. And you get to meet important people and dress nice, and they will buy you gifts and blah, 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 blah. On several occasions, however, Gaetz did travel with women that he paid for sex. Yeah, like the Bahamas and other things. That's out of the country. That's international sex trafficking. On September 13th, 2018, Gaetz, 2 other men and 6 women traveled to the Bahamas. Hang on one second, guys. I got to check on something. I have too many tabs open. Get this here. Where is she at? Okay, we're at number 6. I just have to keep track. Because as soon as I'm done here with all you beautiful people, I'm jumping onto Liz Gail's stream here in a minute. So let's get back to our homie, Matt Gaetz here. Most of the sex for money encounters that the committee reviewed, I said that already. So they went to the Bahamas, 2 other men, 6 women traveled to the Bahamas. Representative Gaetz arrived by commercial plane. How just man of the people of him. Later than the others who arrived on private planes, right? He didn't want to be seen getting off with clearly prostitutes. The group stayed at a vacation rental booked and paid for by one of the male travelers. The attendees stated that this was a social trip. They sunbathed, chartered a boat, and went to dinner and to a casino as a group. Gaetz engaged in sexual activity with at least 4 of the women on the trip. Several of the women recall that Gaetz appeared to be under the influence of drugs and that they took ecstasy during this trip. One woman said she witnessed Gaetz taking ecstasy as well. Most, if not all of the women involved had some history of sexual interactions with Gaetz for which they had been paid. While there were no specific payments to the women in connection with the Bahamas trip, according to one woman, the trip itself was more so the payment. The group returned to Orlando. Gaetz flew on a private plane with another man and 3 women. Okay. He paid for 2 women to travel to New York in January, meet up with him and his then girlfriend. They reviewed some more text messages in which Gaetz asked the women about obtaining drugs in advance of the trip. Who texts that to people? Stating, who can help with party favors? In addition to paying for their travel costs, the committee received evidence that Gaetz sent the women money to compensate them for sexual
AI. But they made freaking crochet
dolls. 1 second here. Just to make sure I'm not falling behind. There we go. In addition to paying for their travel costs, the committee received evidence that Gaetz sent the women the money to compensate them for sexual activities they engaged with him during the trip. Guys, this is just over and over and over. He's having sex with Mr. Greenberg's there. He's having sex all together with Greenberg and multiple women, right? The women also discuss instances where Gaetz would try to convince them to have sex with him or Greenberg. He would make me feel bad about not having sex with him or Greenberg, that he would say, why don't you want to have sex with me? Or Mr. Greenberg looks very sad over there. Make him happy. Another woman said that the relationship at some point was a loving friendship, but over time, it came to feel like a task. A third woman said, when I look back on certain moments, I feel violated. One woman said, I think about it all the time. I still see him when I turn on the TV and there's nothing anyone can do. It's frustrating to know I live a reality that he denies. Okay. How many more pages is this? It's all about the sex. Sex, sex, sex. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potato. Representative Gaetz did broadly address the allegation that he engaged in sexual activity with minor. He asserted in his September 26, 2024 letter to the committee, your correspondence of September 1st asked whether I've engaged in sexual activity with any individual under 18. The answer to this question is unequivocally no. Can apply this response to every version of this question in every forum. Oh, we know that's not true. A victim A. There he is, Mr. Dorworth. And if he engaged in that, Representative Gaetz did not answer any of those questions because he knows he did. Okay, so the house gift rule. So we've got the Bahamas trip. We've got, he's got, like, Greenberg was basically his pimp, right? Just basically his pimp. Just insane. This is the passport that he bought for the woman, which is like, $300. And now all the obstruction stuff. Okay. So the bribery, the images on the floor. In letters, he also began making demands of the committee in exchange for his good faith cooperation while suggesting the committee was being weaponized against him for various changing reasons, right? It's all you. It's not me. They gave him all the extensions. He was not willing to provide good faith responses, stating, why is this not changing on here? There we go. Does the committee also have every interest in every dollar I spent in the Bahamas on food, refreshments, and other travel provisions, such as sunscreen? I ask because your request is unclear, unrelated to house rules, and more than a bit nosy. I can represent the committee that no funds of mine were expended in the Bahamas for illicit drug use or sexual misconduct. What a fucking liar. What a fucking liar. He publicly called the investigation frivolous, and it was an obvious fact. Every investigation into me ends the same way. My exoneration. Just pulled a Trump there. Just pulling a Trump. Let's get to the good part. Findings. Thank fucking Jesus. Okay. The committee did not find Representative Gaetz violated federal sex trafficking laws. Bullshit. The committee found that he engaged in commercial sex. There you go. There is substantial evidence that Gaetz paid women for sex and had others pay women for sex on his behalf. Yeah. The committee found that Representative Gaetz violated Florida's statutory rape law. Yes. Victim A. Okay. Including child sex trafficking and statutory rape. Jesus. The committee found Representative Gaetz used illegal drugs. Okay. Violated house gift rule. Okay. They found him guilty of that. That he dispensed special privileges and favors. There you go. Sought to obstruct the investigation of his conduct. So what's the penalty here? Nothing. Right? Let's keep going. Conclusion. Based on the above, the committee determined there is substantial evidence that Representative Gaetz violated House rules and other standards of conduct prohibiting prostitution, statutory rape, illicit drug use, impermissible gifts, special favors or privileges, and obstruction of Congress. The committee has made no special oversight findings in this report. No budget statement is submitted, no funding, blah, blah, blah. I write on behalf of members of the committee who do not support the release of the report. So this is from Michael Guest. House Committee of Ethics lost jurisdiction to release the public any substantive work product regarding Mr. Gaetz after his resignation from the House on November 14th. While we do not challenge the committee's findings, we take great exception that the majority deviated from the committee's well-established standard, voted to release the report. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a sad panda. Okay. I'm just going to be grumpy pants. But guys, they found him guilty essentially on all of the things. Why? I'm so mad. Why has the Department of Justice done nothing with all of that evidence? There's so many receipts. So many receipts. Now he's saying he's not going to claim higher office, but of course they're trying to appoint Marco Rubio to some shit. And the governor of Florida could very easily appoint Matt Gaetz to the Senate. As a stopgap until an election can be held. That's the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. Let's get to your questions and comments, everyone. I don't know who that is. I'm getting all kinds of interesting phone calls today, guys. I don't know who you are. Leave me a message. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I have to search for comments. What am I doing? Not those old eyes. Phew. Thank God I'm not the only one. Yeah. Matthew, girl, have you not grown out of that stage of your life? Right? How dare you insinuate that all those Venmo payments to women from the website Seeking was for sex? Uh-oh. Apparently Trump turned on Musk at the Turning Point thing. Don't know anymore. Yeah, he was like, he got really insulted because, you know, the public and the media are insinuating that Musk is going to be the shadow president. He's like, don't you listen here. I'm the president. Elon Musk can't be president because he wasn't born here. Like, it was like a third grader. It was so mad. Hypergamey is red pill shit stuff. Yeah. Yep. Let's get to the questions. I would question his ethics simply because he hung around with empty green. Yeah. Do you think Garland was paid to sit on his hands? Honey, I hope he got paid something because that man is the fucking worst. If he does get appointed to the Senate, can they reconvene the committee? I don't know what the rules are. My guess would be no, because it's a different body of Congress. So I don't think so. But that's a good question for constitutional scholars. I don't know. Can the Senate refuse to seat him legally? Not if he's temporarily appointed by a governor. I don't believe. But again, not sure. Questions. Just curious about my streaming plans for the rest of the week. Thank you for that, Gunna Fawcett. Christmas, I'm taking off because it's the first night of Hanukkah and it's Christmas. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in regards to that, but we shall see. We shall see. Oh, my goodness. We shall see. We shall see. But you know what, guys? You never know. You never know. I might keep it spicy, but I'm definitely coming back in the rest of the week after Christmas for things. But we got a lot to go over still. We got a lot to go over. Thank you all for tuning in to this educational Sad Panda Matt Gaetz Day. We are almost there on monetization. Don't forget, I still have my sale going on, guys, at ohnomerica. I'm pulling that up right here. .com. Still 15% off everything on the site. Let's check that out here. Boom. You know, we got t-shirts, we got sweatshirts, we got all kinds of things. Get yourself a mug. Get yourself a sticker. Get yourself something for the holidays. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Oh No, America. I'm your host, Nora Ames. Hopefully this day has been informative, fun, and given you a little sparkle of America. Thank you to my mods, as always, for keeping things cool, chill. And if you guys want some of that sweet, sweet merch, hit us up at ohnomerica.com.
Blow your mind, only on Oh No America you'll find.